Welcome to Vitality Cuisine. I'm Laura Kurella, and I'm here this week in Paw Paw, Michigan with David Braganini, the president of St. Julian's Winery. And he's here to teach us one of his wonderful recipes. What is that, David?
Spaghetti sauce.
Ooh.
Spaghetti sauce with meat. Bolognese, but there's no bologna in it.
All right.
But my father taught me the recipe. I don't know. Our spaghetti sauce has tasted like this ever since I've been alive. So, the whole family recipe. And I inherited my father's spoon, which is probably the reason it's so good. But
that's one heck of a spoon.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Got a deep pot. So.
All right. Well, that sounds
We're ready to cook?
Yes.
All right.
Well, coming up, we're going to get an exclusive beverage pairing to David's wonderful spaghetti sauce by himself, of course. And we're going to get a nice dessert out of me later on in the show, too, that'll pair perfectly with David's sauce. Stay with us right here on Vitality Cuisine.
Salud.
Welcome back to Vitality Cuisine. I'm Laura Kurella, and I'm here with David Braganini of St. Julian Winery, right in his own kitchen. And he's going to show us how to make his old world recipe for spaghetti sauce.
Dad's sauce.
All right.
All right.
Well, take it away.
We start half a pound of bacon, diced.
In a hot
pot.
A very deep hot pot.
We will fry this. And we will use the oil. Now what we're going to do, is dice the onions. And it's important not to cook them too hot. Okay. Because you want them caramelized, but you don't want them burnt.
Turn your body a little bit.
All right. Depending on your taste, you can use 2 or 3 onions. And the strength of the onion. All right.
So you're using just regular yellow onions?
I believe these are white.
Whites, okay. Do you have a preference?
No.
So like say I
chop
like
in
Vidalia onions, is it okay if
No, Vidalia's too mild. Sorry. Just regular onions.
All right, so yellow or white?
Well, it depends on your taste, but...
no Vidalias?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This will all mince together, so...
Okay. Try to keep your body turned towards the camera.
Okay.
There you go. I can see why he needs that big spoon.
All right.
It smells very good.
Let that go for a while.
I think the combinations of bacon and onion are...
Then you'll love this. I know people say to slice it rather than press it, but I don't subscribe to that. This seems to work just fine for me.
Yeah. Well, what I like about the press is that you don't have to peel the cloves at all. You can just pop them in there, and it's self-peeling, which is really nice. I've seen they've got
like when I go in the sun too long, self-peeling.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I've seen some bigger presses too that you can actually add quite a few cloves instead of having to go piecemeal like he's doing. So.
Well, you need a real strong grip if you.
Yeah, it's good exercise actually. It's actually better exercise than mincing is, I'd say. Well, what a wonderful aroma
don't
we got.
Don't mince words about that.
No.
All right.
All right. So how much garlic did you just add?
Well, I like garlic. I put in five or six cloves, and it's got to stand up to the rest of the sauce. But I use 1 pound of stew meat, usually tri-tip, and 1 pound of chopped suey. It's labeled in the supermarket as chopped suey meat.
So it's probably pork?
Nice pork, yeah. It's nice pink pork, and I chop them into smaller pieces.
So you've got pork and beef.
Pork and beef, and then I have 1 pound of ground beef.
Okay.
Ground sirloin, and 1 pound of Italian sausage.
Wow.
Sausage. So pork and beef, and we will add this all to the mixture once the onions are properly browned. It takes a while, but it's worth waiting for.
Yes, indeed.
And the one ingredient that really makes a difference, St. Julian Simply Red. Now this is a red wine made without oak. It's something, it tastes like a homemade wine. It's fruity, dry, but not super dry. It's like a red wine you would get at Italy, at any roadside trattoria. And I throw in about a cup. And we might add more later, depending on the consistency. But it blends with the bacon, and it will continue to saute these onions.
Okay, stay with us. Coming up, David will tell us what wine will pair best with his spaghetti sauce meal, right here on Vitality Cuisine. We're back here in Paw Paw, Michigan, with St. Julian's Winery president, David Braganini, in his very own kitchen, making his authentic spaghetti sauce. And we're about to do what, David?
We're going to add the meat. Add the pork and the beef, finely chopped.
Yes. Okay.
And then we have ground beef and Italian sausage.
What a combination.
Now, we put both of these in, and what I do to make sure that everything is mixed together properly is use a potato masher.
Isn't that something?
And then you don't have chunky beef or sausage. It all blends in like a puree.
Oh, wow.
Then we cook this, I don't know, 5-10 minutes until everything appears to be cooked nicely. And then we put in the spaghetti, then we put in the tomato sauce. Put in 4 cans of sauce, 1 can of diced tomatoes, and depending on the consistency at that time, usually 1 or 2 cans of tomato paste. We were looking for a certain consistency so it sticks to the pasta. You never want to use a wine to cook with that you wouldn't drink. So I know there's a lot of cheap, inexpensive wines that people use leftover wine. You don't want to do that. You want to use a nice fresh bottle of wine. I always use the wine that I'm going to have with the meal. But you don't have to worry about using too much because the alcohol evaporates and what you're left with is flavor. You know, if some is good, more is better. Well, that just to a certain extent. I don't use more than a cup and a half. You don't want to get it too juicy. But, you know, a little bit won't hurt. So there. So now Julian Simply Red. It's our best-selling red wine. And it's available everywhere, and it is perfect with spaghetti.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. So back to stirring the pot here.
All right. It's a world recipe for spaghetti sauce, and it smells really wonderful. Tell us what to do now.
Well,
Dave.
all of our meat and pork and sausage and onions and garlic are all blended together, and they're all pretty well cooked now. Now comes the sauce. Just use spaghetti sauce. I'm sorry, tomato sauce. Any brand will do because you're going to end up adding the spices yourself. And I also use some crushed tomatoes just to give it a little different consistency.
If people want to, they could use fresh tomatoes if they like, yes?
Of course, of course. You got to stir the sauce a lot more with the fresh ones, but yeah, that'll work just fine. Mine aren't ripe yet.
No?
No. Okay, we're almost there. I add 6 cans to this particular recipe.
Yes.
And then I'm going to throw in 1 can of paste to begin with, and then we'll see the consistency later.
That'd be good. I know what you're
My dad tells me a story that he used to eat this like candy. His mom sent him to the store for a can, and he ate it on the way home, and it's pretty sweet. I mean, tomatoes are fruit, and not vegetables, but...
Have you ever tasted just tomato paste by itself?
Yeah, it's very sweet and tomatoey. A little acidic, but thick. It's just concentrated sauce.
It's very good.
All right, get the spoon one more time.
Spatula.
Now you need the spoon. And what I do, that I've never seen anybody else do, I monitor it. I keep stirring it until it gets up to 180 degrees. Then I put the lid on it and turn the stove off, and it will sit there. And it'll only drop maybe 20 degrees in 3 hours, but it sits there and cooks. And without the heat, it's not going to burn. And I'll take it up again to 180. I'll do that twice. And after about 4 or 5 hours, I let it cool, and I put it in Ziploc bags with the date and put it in the freezer. I lay it on, should I show?
Yes, please do.
What I do is get a Ziploc bag, you fill them up, you lay them on a cookie sheet and they freeze, and you can stack them up in the freezer. But once this is full, this is perfectly sized for 2 pounds of spaghetti, 2 pounds of pasta, or curls or rigatoni or springs, elbows, whatever. But 2 pounds of pasta and one of these, works great.
Perfect.
All right.
All right.
And back to stirring. It takes a while to get this much up to temperature, but we'll do it.
Okay. Now, are you cooking this over what size flame? Medium, high?
I'm cooking this on high. As long as you keep stirring, you need all the heat you can get it. You don't want it to burn, of course, but you have to stay here and stir. That's the one. The one thing that must be done. You burn it, it's ruined, but you stir the sauce.
You're right about that.
Stir the sauce.
Yes. You don't want to burn the tomato sauce because it permeates the entire batch just to have a little bit of burnt. One tip, though, is if you do realize you've scorched the bottom of your pan, don't scrape the bottom of your pan. Simply pour it into a fresh pot and continue on and then scrub that other pot out later, right? That's what I do.
Well, if you ever burn sauce in this house, you wouldn't be invited back. But
okay, well, that's my little secret.
Okay. You got to stir the sauce. Okay.
We'll be right back with more from Vitality Cuisine.
What I recommend to go with my spaghetti is St. Julian Simply Red. Best-selling wine, available anywhere under $10. Very convenient, screw cap, very, very good seal, and very nice fruity wine. It goes very, very well with the sauce.
You mentioned the screw cap, David, and I want to say something now because a lot of people don't understand why a lot of wineries are going to the screw cap as opposed to the cork.
Well, wine that's going to be consumed within 5 years, a cork does nothing for it, if it does anything at all, actually. This is a much better seal. This keeps the oxygen out, which tends to deteriorate wine. The cork is the bark of a tree, and if you saw the chemicals that they soak this bark in before it's ready to go into a cork, into a bottle, you would all use screw caps. But this is convenient. It's a great seal if you don't finish the bottle. The technology now is much, much better than it was 30 years ago, where these had a bad reputation. This is high tech. This is the way to go.
That's absolutely awesome.
And 90% of our wines are done that way now.
And is that why you've chosen to do that?
Yes, it's just convenient, and it's the wave of the future. We've been in screw caps 10 years, and it's worked out just fine. Our wines have never been in better shape.
What a great meal we have here prepared for us by David Braganini from St. Julian's Wine himself. It's absolutely amazing. I think that I can't wait to dig my fork into this one. It smells succulently delicious. Oh, David.
Hey, just a little more Parmesan Reggiano.
Ooh.
Some people like Romano cheese. Some people like Velveeta. I like Parmesan Reggiano. It's my favorite. Okay.
Parmesan, okay, let's see. Well.
Salute.
Salute. Okay.
All right.
I will give her a go. With your cheese and your pasta. See if I can manage this all in one fork.
Just like Dad used to make. Although, it wouldn't be as good as his if he was here today. But what are we going to do?
This is fantastic.
He's up there watching.
Oh, it tastes like it's blessed by him, I can tell you that. This is absolutely delicious. David.
I'm glad you like it. That's quite a compliment coming from you.
Jeez.
The queen of cuisine.
Oh, I don't know about that. Well, I got to tell you, David, this was absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me this week on Vitality Cuisine.
My pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned. Next week, we've got some wonderful, delicious delights coming up. Hope you'll join us. Until then, bye-bye.